Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Took a long, hard look at myself and I'm pretty underwhelmed. My adult life has been defined by three things. My entire mental image has been defined by three things. My ability to achieve the things I set out to do. My ability to help others in need. My willingness not only to give, but make the necessary sacrifices to do what is right. These things are simply items drilled into me throughout my life. A list of obligations that I had always been told a good man ought to do. I have been largely successful in my industry. I've managed to achieve most things I've set out to do. I have been, as my grandmother calls it, a cheerful giver. Though I am not as religious as she, I try to live by that one. I wrote a lot on Reddit this last year because I don't often talk about things that bother me aloud. Not for most of my life. I'd learned at a young age that it was whining or bitching. A sign that you weren't willing to do what needed to be done. If I had time to bitch about something, I had time to do something about it. And more than anything, people don't actually care about your feelings, they care about the results. No one gives a shit how much thought, effort, or anguish a task has taken you. They only care that the end result works in their favor. That's life. Sure, people are polite about it. No one wants to say what they really feel, image is important. But nobody asked, how's it going? Or how was your day? I really care about that answer. That's just a light greeting so that whatever they're there to ask of you doesn't seem so cold. The world seems like an interesting place where we lie to each other and ourselves. It's quite easy to justify all manner of horrible things we do to one another, say to one another, for all manner of arbitrary reasons. But at the end of the day, it's really all about what everyone around you provides. If you parents can't provide love, guidance, and understanding, you don't feel as beholden to them. If your friends aren't fun to hang out with, aren't supportive, aren't providing you with that sense of belonging or companionship, they aren't your friends for long. You may try to fight it out with your spouse, make it through. But if you're unfulfilled sexually, or have emotional or support issues, it's eventually going to fall apart. No one wants to say it aloud, but unconditional love is a stupid concept. Love has conditions. Every relationship has conditions, lots of them. I'm a rather simple man. I like clear and honest people. I'll just do what I'm asked, as long as it's not going to hurt me. I never think about whether or not it's a big ask, or whether or not it's unreasonable. It always comes down to whether or not I felt I could accomplish it, and would it hurt me to accomplish it. If someone needs $20, and I only got $20, I don't consider whether or not $10 will work. That wasn't what I was asked. I think about how to get them $20, or if not having this $20 will really be all that detrimental to me. Will I miss a meal? Will that be so bad? Will I not go to a movie? I remember a time when I was younger, a friend who was in dire need of money taught me a lesson that I just kind of swallowed, bitched and moaned about to myself, but never really learned. She was in need. She would always come to me when she needed help. When she didn't need help, I'd never hear from her. When I would contact her to game, or to hang out, or to take a look at something I was working on and offer her critique, she never had time. I asked another peer about it. And they told me that I was being a bad friend. That I should not expect them to be the same kind of friend to me as I am to them. That my help doesn't obligate her to help me, give me any of her time or effort. Which I took to heart. I'm not helping her for something in return, I'm helping her cause she was my friend. Later she asked me for help with something else and I just couldn't do it. I told her that the last time I'd helped really set my situation back, and that I was late with rent and other bills, and ended up paying twice what I gave her in late fees on some stuff. She then told me that she didn't ask me to not pay my rent on time to help her. Which, interestingly enough, was to pay her own rent, and said I was stupid for doing so. which upset me. She asked me why I would even do that and just not say I couldn't help. At the time I didn't think to say, "I'm saying I can't help now and you're not happy with that answer." Instead I explained my logic. I had never been late with my rent. I was pretty sure that I could handle all my bills, even late, and that she'd been late several times that I knew of, and she made her consequences sound more dire than mine sounded. She again said that was stupid. I didn't like being called stupid. And I decided she was not a good friend. So I stopped being friends with her, but everyone told me I was an asshole for it. That I was being petty. Everyone told me about how good I had it, and how people like her were struggling and blah blah blah. I never was her friend again, but I never learned that lesson that I should have learned there. The truth of the matter is, too much of my own self-worth and personality is based on what I can do or provide, and the opinions of other people. I'm apparently living through their eyes. I will defend myself based on my accomplishments, but that's rather shallow if I'm not fully enjoying them. I buy my stuff. I collect my games and toys, and I pat myself on the back because I decided to volunteer rather than spend time beating this RPG I wanna play. I spent my life thinking I'm a good person, because instead of doing what I want to do, I do what people need me to do. The problem is, I'm not much different than other people. We all want things, and even if we don't say them out loud, we still expect them and act funny if we don't receive them. People in my life have wanted things from me. Wanted me to do things. Not just what they ask, what they don't ask. They want me to behave or react in a certain way. Either reasonable or unreasonable. But no one wants to be clear or direct about it. Like, you can call up and say, "Hey, I'm here at this place, do you want me to get you something?" And you get a no. So you don't get them something. They're not going to tell you they're upset they didn't get anything, cause they know they shouldn't be. And they will say aloud that no, it would be stupid of them to be upset at you for doing what they said. But that doesn't change how they feel and how they treat you because of how they feel. I am much the same. I've always felt like I should be appreciated for what I do and have done. My efforts and all that. I don't really demand it too much, as for one it should be a given, but two, it seems a bit presumptuous and dickish. Also, I don't know exactly how I expect people to appreciate me. You can't do for me what I do for you most times. When I do ask for something, it's not something I get most of the time. Most of the time I probably just want people to put in the effort I think I am putting in, but most likely my perspective on it all is skewed. We never see ourselves as the villain or the wrong ones in our story. So most likely I've just been wrong. Not just in my actions, but in how I've read situations, and people. Perhaps I'm just not suited for these situations and should focus more on myself. I ask myself, why am I down south? Why did I buy this big house? It wasn't for me and I don't particularly like living here. Why don't I have that car I want? I've got the money. Why haven't I gone ahead and done any of the countless things I want to do? Am I happy? You know, I once thought so. If you ask me about my life, my marriage, and everything, I'd say I was happy up until December, but was I? Do I actually know what that is? Or am I just another damaged person so sure in their own justifications that they're just plowing right through the obvious answers all around them? I don't know. I really don't. But what I do know, is that I'm unhappy looking back and realizing that I've wasted most of my time and life living through the eyes of others. I'm far from perfect. I doubt that I'm nearly as good a person as I think. I probably come off pretty arrogant about the things I'm confident about, because there's just so much shit that I'm not. But at the end of the day I have to ask if I'm happy or not. I don't actually know. I mean, overall. With the situation recently, definitely not. Hey dude, give yourself a break. You are only human. I just turned 60 and my life is not where I thought I would be when I was 30. Be true to yourself. Your happiness must come first. I feel my life has given me riches. These riches are not material things, but are things more important. I have gotten to the point in my life where other people's opinions of myself do not matter in the long run. Life is a journey, it is too short to not be okay with you. Keep the faith. Man, really that savior complex you have is destroying you. Please focus on yourself. Take time for you and focus on you. Separate from Amy for a while, keep going to it, keep going to the gym. Just for one time in your life focus on you, man. Online Journal Day 185, Mental Exhaustion. So you know what, I'm really tired. Not just of situations, but people in general. You know, you struggle to do what you can, and you're not perfect, but you do what you can. Listening to some of the replies I've gotten and the opinions, I've come to the conclusion that not only have I spent my life trying too damn hard, but I'm not quite sure anyone I know has been worth all that effort. You know, I'm just fucking tired, and maybe I am wrong for working my ass off to do for others. If I'm doing the most, I'll accept that, but you know what? It reminds me that nobody, not Amy, not my siblings, not anyone has put even a quarter of that effort into me and mine. I'm realizing I had to beg and accommodate, work hard to get my wife to take interest in anything I want to do, and I probably overcompensate with any and everything she wants to do cause I want it so badly for her to do the same with me. And tuck me, I was appreciative of those meager efforts. I'm always appreciative for what I get. What I think I deserve hardly ever comes into play. Sitting down and listening to her, it's like, okay, so what was any of that effort for? If you're not happy with it, why am I doing it? It all amounts to me saying I want you to do this thing you don't actually want to do, but I want you to do it a certain way, but I don't want to tell you exactly what that is. I fucking hate gardening. I'm good at it because I work to be good at it. But I never wanted to do it. I got into it because she wanted to do it. I'm not particularly a fan of jewelry making. I'm bad at dancing, simply ducking terribly. But I did the ballroom dancing thing despite how uncomfortable it made me feel. Inviting strangers to my house for book club, cooking and preparing for these people, having to be around but not be a part of it cause it's all women ducking annoying. If there was any positive to COVID, it was that shit went online and I didn't have to be a part of it. If I have to listen to another gaggle of women talk about alphas and wolves, I'm going to vomit. Those books are shit and you're shit for reading them. Meanwhile, she spends maybe 30 minutes watching the game with me and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful when I finally get her to play anything other than Mario Kart, but don't play anything competitive, only co-op, cause even in college that never went well. We're sitting there talking about how she never overshadows me in my own hobbies, and I realize it's probably because she barely participates. There's a presence, and obligatory presence. That's it. I ask if that's what she wants out of me. And I shit you not, her response to the gardening thing pissed me right the duck off. I want you to do the hard stuff. I can't lift those bags and sometimes I can't do certain things as easily as you. Gardening is supposed to be relaxing, but I can't relax if I got to do all that. I say she ain't got to do any of that now, all the hard part is done. She says yeah, but most of it was done by me. When I reminded her, she not only asked me to, but sat watching me do this back-breaking work in the hot ducking sun and didn't lift a finger to help, even when I was saying I need help. I also don't like maintaining the garden. I'm not the one who hangs out back there, she is. And that made me realize a ton of stuff I just do because I think I have to or I'm supposed to, and I just said, you know what? No. I'm done. So here's the deal. She wants to be responsible for bills. Fine. Weird hill to die on, but go right ahead. She's got access to the Google Drive spreadsheet that tracks all that shit. Go on there, figure out which ones you want to handle, make a list and set up an auto pay from your bank or whatever. Inform me which ones those are so I can make arrangements. As far as gardening, jewelry making, dancing, or learning how to make cosplay outfits. Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I have no interest in any of that shit. And she can have all the thunder on that shit to herself. She wants to find something we both can do together, fine, but right now, I kind of don't want to do shit with her. In fact, I kind of don't want to do shit with anyone. Here is my solemn promise. I'm not about to spend another 6/7 years if we make it through this one guessing and working my ass off only to feel like I'm not ducking appreciated. I'm not the best. I'm not perfect, but I'll be damned if I'm going to sit up and let a bunch of ducking people tell me I'm the bad guy for working my ass off so my wife can have a better life. Like, ducking seriously. Then you wanna tell me that I'm ducking wrong for making a sacrifice on a project that took me a week and would have netted me at least $1,000 so that you can get your dream job, and you feel like, oh, I didn't ducking earn it. I'm upset. On the one hand I get that. On the other hand there are people without ducking jobs. There are people with degrees not working in their fields. There are people in this ducking world who don't do what they love, make a lot of money doing it, and have no options to get out of the cycle they're in, and you're complaining that your husband went behind your back and ensured you got your damn dream job. I'm a piece of shit for that. You know what? Perhaps I am. Perhaps I've been running headlong trying to make everything right for everyone, trying to listen, but rarely understanding what people want. Despite the fact that I ask you ducking people what you want and I listen, and what I'm told and what is the reality seems to be so far apart it could be on another planet. But you know what I never asked? I never asked if I was happy with the arrangement. I never asked if I'm fulfilled. And you know what I realized? Not her, not the peanuts gallery of people judging me for doing my goddamn best for an ungrateful world, not even my parents asking or care whether or not I'm happy about all of it. And you know what, I didn't care. 'Cause I only focused on what I had and not what I didn't have. I do treat everything like an obligation. Like this is what I'm supposed to do. I have this. I can do this. I have these privileges, so I'm required to behave a certain way. I have to do this or I'm selfish. I have to do this or that, or I'm not supportive. I have to do this or that, or I would be unappreciative. Seriously, what about what I want? So, I think I'm done, and I told Amy that I think there's more problems in the relationship than just this year's betrayal. And given how badly I'm apparently doing as a spouse, making her feel useless, stealing her thunder, and apparently being hell oblivious to her need to matter, I'm not really sure how we fix that. Her needs are not being met, and you know what, neither are mine. I'm just so busy trying and apparently failing to notice. Which makes her behavior in December seem a lot more preemptive to me. So, you're not just someone who wanted attention or felt acceptance or vindication from your actions online. You were someone who was in a relationship with someone you felt made you feel small and useless, and I can't imagine you didn't resent that feeling. I can't imagine that didn't contribute to the duck him attitude, as you did things you knew were wrong and would hurt me. I can't imagine someone that unhappy with themselves and their relationship was not looking for an out. She backtracks hard, but the picture I'm seeing now is getting less blurry, and I'm less certain that she and I have a future together. Good thing for her is she can tell everyone it had nothing to do with her betrayal or anything, but that her oblivious husband is incompatible with her needs and desires. So that's a win she can have. For now, I've quit couples counseling, and though I'm continuing individual counseling, 'cause apparently there's a lot more wrong with me than I ever knew, so yeah, I'm going to have to deal with that. As far as the criticism and complaints, for now she can just ducking tell me what she wants me to do and we'll do that, decision's up to her. I obviously don't know what the hell I'm doing and am seriously not confident to try. I got no plan, no suggestions, and no ideas. She keeps saying that she's not happy. But the picture she and others are painting isn't a very good one. In fact, it's actually very bad. Like you feel like a child in your own home. So if I'm ducking up, you tell me where and how, and I'll do that. As far as all that extra shit, I'm done with that. I'm not about to keep throwing my head at a brick wall for something that we've all established is not making anyone happy. Unfortunately, your separation from Amy was not cathartic for you. There were too many other family dramas going on that just compounded things on your mind. The Hawaii trip was a better idea, but quitting your job was a mistake. You liked your work and it's the missing piece in your life right now. Is marriage another thing you want to quit? The only one responsible for your happiness is you. Others don't ask about it because it's not their responsibility, and frankly, don't want to take that on. Continue IC for both you and Amy, and try to resume MC at some point. I still do my job, just not with those people. I just work as a freelancer now and I've recently been offered to head a project for one of our old clients. To be honest, perhaps there is a lot more missing in my life and maybe the people around me. The place I live. Maybe I'm simply all wrong and I'm just trying to succeed at something cause I'm supposed to. If I'm the only person responsible for my happiness, then I can do that all on my own. Honestly, you may not think this right now, but I believe you have made a breakthrough. I'm realizing I had to beg and accommodate, work hard to get my wife to take interest in anything I want to do, and I probably overcompensate with any and everything she wants to do cause I want it so badly for her to do the same with me. And later. But you know what I never asked? I never asked if I was happy with the arrangement. I never asked if I'm fulfilled. And you know what I realized? Not her, not the peanut gallery of people judging me for doing my goddamn best for an ungrateful world, not even my parents asking or care whether or not I'm happy about all of it. And you know what, I didn't care. Cause I only focused on what I had and not what I didn't have. I think you hit the nail on the head here with these comments. To me it sounds like you are truly living your life by the golden rule. You are treating people how you want to be treated yourself. You want a person to take an interest in you and what you are doing. You want someone who wants to make sure you are fulfilled and are your best self, and you do that by helping others to be fulfilled and working with them to achieve their interests and goals. But they never return the favor in full measure. Never. And when they do, it is teaspoons to your cups. So now you are burned out because you have given so much of yourself to others and see little in return other than complaints. So take that energy and instead of putting all of it into friends and family, invest it in yourself. You are the only person responsible in your marriage and your family for your happiness. As hard as it sounds, focus less on your friends and family and focus more on what you want to do. There is nothing wrong with leading by example, but if you have a gallon of effort and you know that you are going to get back a teaspoon of return for each cup you put into someone, I wouldn't give that person more than a couple of cups no matter how much I love them. I would be more judicious on where I spent those cups as well. If you don't like dancing, then fine. Don't go dancing. There is no reason for you to spend a cup of effort if all you get back doesn't cover the unhappiness of doing something that you don't like. If you are only going to get back a teaspoon, only put those cups where you get happiness, like maybe cooking, that way the cup is going to both their happiness and yours. And by not handing out as much effort, you will find that people will take it for granted less and will be more appreciative of what you do give, so that you will start getting back tablespoons instead of teaspoons and maybe even cup for cup. I suggest you stick with the IC part, but perhaps you should go walk some trails, ones you might not have been on, and put the electronics down. Seems like you said you liked that, and don't do it near people you know. I don't know many people outside of my team and her friends and family down here. I moved down here, out of my comfort zone for her. I think I need to leave. Just seems like you had too many other people's problems when you really needed to focus on you. Trails that get you away from people in general might help again. Maybe take the dog. It's a good thing you have a therapist because you need one right now. I have no idea how much venting on Reddit is helping you deal with your emotional state now, but you have definitely hit a wall. I have kept up with your story since it began and I feel for you because it just sucks that so many people in your circle are shitty and needy at the same time. Armchairing it, you have a white knight complex, and finding out that people not only did not want you to swoop to the rescue but also kinda resented you for it has really hit hard. I can't say I wouldn't react the same way. I want to fix things when my wife rants about a problem. Then she gets frustrated with me because I want to fix it my way, basically the only way I know how to fix it, and she didn't want it fixed that way, or God forbid, she didn't want it fixed at all and just wanted to bitch about it. I can empathize about how you feel. But you need a space to work this out in that isn't with her and not just on Reddit, so it's good you have a therapist. You need to work this out so you don't become as bitter as you sound. Changing a fundamental part of yourself so you work better with your spouse is never easy, and I really hope that she is doing the same and at least coming clean with all her insecurities so you can avoid another catastrophic breakdown of your marriage. It feels like you are allowing your wife's frustration with her insecurities to creep into your psyche. She has a broken sprocket and she is trying to fix it by whatever means necessary. One of those means is to try and be honest about how you make her feel. This is a good thing for her because there is not a way that was easy for her. If she had an iota of insight, she would have been able to predict how this was going to make you feel. This should be a watershed moment in your relationship because she would have never been this open before. But because it has had such a deep impact on who you believe yourself to be, it has really shook you and put you in a bad spot. Get that individual help you need and hopefully you can come out the other side of this crisis with a better functioning relationship that includes more authentic communication. As for the job thing, she needs to come to the understanding that knowing people is how a huge majority of people get their jobs. Networking is a thing and exists for a really good reason. Most of the time it really is about who you know. And there is nothing wrong with that. Getting the job because of who you know is a time-honored tradition in the workforce and a generally accepted part of life. As you so astutely pointed out, she ran with that job and got promoted multiple times. Because she was good at it, not because you continued to exert your influence over the provider of the job. Her being sour that she did not get that job on her own is a kick in the teeth straight up. Advice doesn't have to be harsh, it just has to be useful. People are harsh cause they're dicks without tact, and you can't help nobody like that. And that ain't they point. And we have been online for over a decade. Attacking people has never led to them listening to what you say or any pleasant back and forth. Some people don't seem to get that and they can fuck off because of it. But thank you for taking the time here today, I respect that. A line I always say: the devil is in the details. This is true for intelligent people because they tend to overthink. You are not wrong for the way you live. It is a good and a very fulfilling way to live. See, there is no right way to live. There are millions of ways to live, either by conscious or unconscious action. There is not one perfect way to live. But each way to live has its own advantages and disadvantages for yourself and for others. I know someone who chose to live a similar life, my mother. There were times when she felt, why put all the effort when it is not appreciated but criticized upon? I always tell her, don't look at the disadvantages of the way you live, because not many people have the capacity to understand why she lives her way of life, and not many people can live like her because they are so self-absorbed by their needs, what they need, what I am losing. My mom is not a weak woman who can't say no to anyone who asks for her help. No, she is a strong woman who knew what really mattered in life. To love is to give, not to take. But it takes two people giving love to each other to make that love blossom. But sadly people are now thinking what I get from this love and not really giving love. You are not wrong, and anyone who tells you that, ignore them, because there are millions of ways to live and people hardly know even one complete way to live. I will say Amy is being self-absorbed, concentrating more on her needs, her issues, her fears, and not really appreciating the love in the actions you do for her. She should be too busy appreciating your efforts than feeling less. Did you say to her you should never pay the bills, you should never cook, you should never do that, only I will do that? You did what was needed at that moment, not because you wanted to. What was she doing to change that? She enjoyed your care and effort, and now she feels small in the relationship. I am seeing the same thing happen to my mother. And I have talked some sense to the people involved. Amy should put the effort in the relationship and not expect you to contribute less. There may be people who don't appreciate the effort you put in things, but don't let that bring you down. You won't be yourself any other way than now. The way you are living is a very good way to live, and don't change that for anyone, because at the end of the day when you look back you will be satisfied with the way you live. When these self-absorbed people only see regrets. Amy is so self-absorbed that she is changing the good parts of her life and turning it into something bad. She should be appreciating what you did to her and not criticizing the good things in her life. Man, you should talk some sense to her. I am doing my fair share for my mother, but I am really getting fed up by people's stupidity here in my home. I had to tell some harsh facts to my father, but I don't know how much of it he really understood. Good luck to you, man. Hope it helps. It's unfortunate that Amy is finally opening up to you with her insecurities, and you are throwing it back in her face and taking everything she is saying as an attack on you versus her acknowledgement that she's broken and wanting your support. As I've told you, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, smiley face. Online Journal Day 186, 20 Things I Hate About You. So I've been a bit off my square for the last week. I'm having a hard time reconciling some of the things my wife has said about our relationships and things I'm apparently doing wrong. She's upset that I'm no longer going to MC and just doing IC, and I'll talk a bit about that later. To her credit, she has been trying hard to explain herself, and her IC asked her to make a list of the 20 biggest issues she has had in the relationship over the years and give it to me. I've read them, obviously if I'm writing this. I've not talked to her about it. But I have my own feelings but I won't get too much into it other than just to list them here. So I can look back at them and keep track of them. As I imagine whether my current relationship will survive or not, I'm gonna have to work on these. Everything in the house has to be just so. She says if she leaves a room she can wait like 30 minutes and I will go in there and clean or fix something up. Sometimes she gets annoyed with me and just leaves things places just because. This apparently goes hand in hand with one, but I'm inconsistent with my anger levels. She quoted things like the time she went behind my back on her mother's car, third in 2 years, how she and Mimi got drunk with their book friends and trashed my house on a Labor Day, after I was forced to drive her sick friend I hate back to Ducking, Norfolk alone, or her tendency to instantly involve her parents in our business, as things she would understand me blowing up over. Or her habit of cussing me out like a sailor whenever she's mad cause she know I ain't gonna do the same to her. But I apparently take really harsh small random things. As an example, she said she would forget to scrap food out of the dishes before putting them in the sink. Something she knows I hate, but then one day she'll do something like leave the cabinets open and I'll explode for old and new. I either placate her while playing video games, not trying hard or letting her win. Or utterly destroying her, making her not wanna play, no in between. Granted, the latter hasn't happened since college. I'm always fussing with her about communication and how we keep our home. She says she hates the little passive-aggressive notes I'd leave on her desk about some things. She doesn't want a chore chart, and apparently me just doing it all myself makes her feel useless. I never let her get to it, I always want it done in my time, and if it's not I just do it myself and complain about it months later after I'm ready to explode. I'm either upstaging her in front of her work friends or being quiet and distant. Her work friends now think I'm shy or that she's abusive, because she'll look at me if I start talking too much or stealing her thunder, and I will spend the rest of the night sulking. I don't drink with her, I force her to drink alone. I didn't smoke weed with her and I made her feel like I was judging her for doing those things. In my defense, both my siblings are alcoholics and so was my grandma. It's not a vice I'm keen on, but I've been pretty down on weed until recently. I make her feel less. She was a pretty good student. She was pretty smart, but I tend to know more and show off. I used to correct her a lot apparently, then stopped. Now she knows I want to correct her cause I'll get really quiet. No whiteism is my fault, I've been working on that since I was a child. Speaking of children, I treat her like a child. She admits she was wildly irresponsible and unprepared for adult life when we first met. And she also admits she spent the first 3 years of our marriage letting me handle domestic things, financials, and all that because she was immature and lazy. But I apparently don't think she's grown or changed at all, cause I still act like she can't take care of anything. Rather than tell her family no or not help people, I just do it and then complain to her endlessly about how everyone has their hand out. Though she admits she doesn't want me to stop helping her family, even her ungrateful ass cousins. I always invade new hobbies she wants to feel out and upstage her, but I refuse to do the hobbies she wants me to do. Ballroom dancing, I suck at it. That beer making thing she did for a few months, and watching Korean soap operas with her, without criticizing it. I will admit the last one I'm guilty of. In my defense, plot-wise they get really frustrating, especially the one with mermaids. I never let her buy her own things. She works a job and has her own money, and if she mentions she wants to buy something I buy it first. In my defense, I've really worked on this over the years. The last one was some stupid Hello Kitty couch she wanted in her office. It needed assembly. I thought it would surprise her. She was happy, but I've heard about this couch multiple times since. I damn her with false praise. She says she doesn't do much and I don't let her do much. But I'm always on about how much I appreciate her for little insignificant things that highlight how little she does around the house. I make such a big deal when she remembers to do the laundry or something without being asked or told. I still act like she needs to be taught the same things over and over, like in the kitchen or other places. How everything has to be done a certain way. She's apparently heard me explain how to fix the holes in the walls. She has a problem with throwing her controllers, multiple times. When I'm not randomly blowing up about little shit, I'm giving her the silent treatment over things we should talk about. And I make her feel bad when I say stuff like, "We've already spoken about it, you know everything I would say. So there's no need to talk." In my defense, the same thing happening over and over does not need to be talked about. I can't think of anything to say that would make her understand better than the last time we had the conversation. I let people walk all over me, including her. But then I am so quick to turn into a dragon and try and fight her battles for her when she can stand up for herself. I'm constantly bringing around or having around rival bitches, her words not mine, and am oblivious to their machinations. She legit said machinations. I don't let her talk later. I always want to handle problems and arguments or anything right away or on my schedule. Sometimes she needs time to think and I don't give her that. I ask a whole lot of questions she can't answer right away, and won't accept sometimes. Or most times she doesn't actually know why she did or didn't do something. I make her feel like she can never do anything right, just because she can't do it perfectly like me. She says I don't ever say anything, but I will wait till later and then go fix whatever she thinks is already done. I'm all about communicating and sharing till she gets angry and says something to hurt my feelings, then I start treating her professionally and I've got a stone wall between us. She would prefer I call her a bitch when she loses her temper and says something disrespectful than treating her like some disgruntled customer at Harris Teeter. Not everything is my fault and sometimes she's sad, depressed, or unhappy and it has nothing to do with me. I can't fix everything. There's nothing wrong and running around like a lemming trying to fix what ain't broken stresses her out. She just gets depressed sometimes. She just gets sad sometimes. She's not going to be happy all the time no matter how good our lives are, or how nice our house is, or how often I say I love and appreciate her, or rub her feet. Yada, yada, yada. She says if I think something's wrong and she's just sitting with resting bitch face, I become smothering and sometimes she just wants to smother me with a pillow. I have my complaints and counters or whatnot to some of these. Some of these are dead on, some of these I definitely want to refute. I didn't of course relay them word for word, but it's the list. She wants me to make one for her and I will post it here. But I just wanted this down here cause this is my journal right now. My question is, am I supposed to solve some of these when trying to solve things seems to be a problem? She's the kind of person who sighs at you when you ask her exactly what she wants you to do and says something like just let it happen naturally. Which I don't understand very well when it comes to addressing problems. They don't fix themselves with time like a wound. But whatever. I am not here to argue with this. I'm here to post it. Read it, look at it, and try to take it into account as I move forward. I'm going to think more on this before I come up with a list of my own. That is a lot to unpack. Question for you would be, can you find someone else that would not have the same issues? If not, you might see how much you could address differently. No right or wrong, just a question. Most of the women who see this list think I'm some kind of overbearing asshole, so I think this is more a difference of perceptions that I need to address. I don't want to influence your decision, but it seems like you guys are fundamentally incompatible. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks this. His wife strikes me as someone who's immature, doesn't want to be immature, but doesn't want to do the work on not being immature. I find it interesting that her IC doesn't seem to be focusing on why she gave herself permission to cheat and lie. Instead it seems to be focusing on placing the blame on you. I would hope that my wayward wife would be trying to make amends, not writing lists of why she hates me. And I sense that this is part of your frustration. For as much as she says that she doesn't want you to fix everything, she is essentially giving you all of the blame for her issues and insecurities. Is she going to do anything to fix them? Of course not. She is going to expect you to do that. Pretty hypocritical, isn't it? I know that you are trying to repair your marriage, or at least to decide on what you want to do. I'm not going to advise you in any particular direction. But I am starting to wonder what she offers you. Love doesn't conquer all, despite popular media. We each need someone who challenges us intellectually, or pushes us to grow, or shares our passions. The best couples help each other to become better versions of themselves. Sadly, there are many couples where one partner pulls the other down to their level. For example, one is neat and the other is messy, but rather than the messy person improving, they continue their ways until the neat person gives up and learns to live with the mess. It sounds like you are smart, kind, successful, and self-aware. I encourage you to think about the kind of partnership that would make you the best version of yourself. Think about the qualities that a partner would bring to the marriage. Does Amy bring those? For the qualities that she is missing, is she aware and doing something to improve those gaps? I think her IC cares about her mental health, not mine. I asked her to make a list of the 20 biggest issues she has had in the relationship over the years and give it to me. Is it just me, or does this feel like a bad idea at this stage? I read most of the items and a lot of them are you make me feel type scenarios, which I personally have issue with because no one can make you feel anything. People feel things because they have unaddressed traumas or experiences that elicit a specific emotional response when in certain scenarios. However, this does not make them right or healthy. You didn't make her feel these things. I would expect her IC to dig into her past and work out what causes her to feel inferior, the specific scenarios, what traumas or family history has given her this baggage. Not point the finger squarely at you for making her feel this way. I call BS on this one, and have an issue with the IC. The biggest concern with this list is that they are all on the communication theme. In all of the scenarios listed, she could have communicated her feelings at the time, and requested the corrective action from you, which you can then accept, reject, or negotiate a compromise. That's how adults do healthy relationships. You've stated that you clearly ask her what she wants and replies with just let it happen naturally, which is paramount to asking you to be a mind reader. Nope, that's not a healthy relationship technique either. From your posts I see a lot of confidence, drive to be the best partner, family member and person you can be. I don't believe anyone should stop doing that because it makes someone else be insecure. Why drag down the secure person just to placate the insecure one? To me, all of these could be addressed if she got better at communicating her needs, being honest with you at the time, and addressing her past traumas that make her feel insecure. Even point 20 could be simply resolved by her communicating, "Honey, I've had a terrible day, I'm not feeling good, but I don't need you to fix it, I don't need you to try to make me happy, just give me space," or whatever it is she needs, i.e. just sit here and let me vent about my day. I am sure you have your own stuff to work on, but in the context of infidelity and having a happy relationship, it is clear the heavier lifting needs to be done at her end to communicate better, resolve her past traumas and address her insecurities. I don't have a good feeling about her counselor, they seem to be shifting blame and not focusing on her responsibilities for a healthy relationship. Anyway, that's my ill-informed feedback from some internet dude. Nah, bro. Don't even worry about it. Hey, Unfettered. I got another long one for you. Smile, and let me say in advance that while I may say some things that reflect negatively on Amy, I'm not trying to paint her as a bad person or to suggest that you should sever your relationship. I'm just hoping to share what I've learned, that women look at partners and relationships differently than men do, and that understanding the difference can impact how we perceive our relationships. So, the only thing you can do about this situation is decide whether or not you want to continue your life with a woman who feels this way about you. And, please understand, this isn't an Amy problem. It's a female problem. I know, because my ex-wife was the same way. Most, if not all of your faults listed above are damned if you do and damned if you don't issues. The rest are "he makes me feel inferior" issues. Here are a few I'll highlight. Number 3, you either let her win at video games or destroy her. So, what? You're supposed to regulate your level of play just enough so you don't let her win but you don't beat her too badly? And, how is not beating her too badly in order not to hurt her feelings any different than letting her win? Number 4, she doesn't want a chore chart. She evidently doesn't want to do the chores. And she gets pissed if you do them yourself. So, I guess the only way she'll be happy is if the chores are just left done. Number 5, either you're upstaging her in front of work friends or you're quiet and distant. So, you can't really talk and be yourself because that seems to upstage her, but if you bite your tongue and keep quiet and in the background, then you're being quiet and distant. Can't win. Number 7, you're smart, knowledgeable, and incisive, qualities you'd think someone would admire. But, because you're evidently smarter than she is and know more than she does, she doesn't like this about you. Number 8, you treat her like a child. Fails to see that you treat her that way cause she acts that way, for example the whole childish sex scamming thing, or lying to Mimi and her husband about you knowing, or being willing to scam a guy out of thousands of dollars, or going to a bar to get drunk when you left, or, from number 17, most times she doesn't actually know why she did or didn't do something, or number 9, you don't say no to her family and continue to help them but you complain to her about them. Of course she doesn't want you to stop helping people, especially her family. I guess she just doesn't want her husband to confide or discuss his feelings with her. Of course if you didn't complain to her this one would be, he never opens up and shares his feelings with me. Died. Number 11, you never let her buy her own things. Yep. This is a no-win. If you start letting her buy her own things, this one would change to "he always makes me buy my own things and never spends money on me." You'd think a wife would appreciate having a husband that listens to her and goes out and buys things she says she wants. If you didn't, again, this one would be "I always drop hints about things I want but he never buys them for me." I'm sure you see this could go on and on, so, bottom line. Damned if you do. Damned if you don't. Women need to feel superior to their partners in a relationship. Ever wonder why a woman who seems to have it all together is matched up with, or will cheat on her perfect partner with, an obvious pos who treats her like crap? It's because she knows she's the better person in that relationship and that satisfies her. She knows you are a smarter, more thoughtful, caring, giving person than she is, and instead of trying to better herself to grow to your level, she just resents you for it. Things get all twisted up in her head where before long your virtues get turned into faults, and, because of all your faults, she can now feel superior to you. There's nothing you can do about it. If you were to somehow figure out a way to fix all of these problems, then, as you've said above, your fixing it will itself become an issue of resentment. All you can do is decide whether or not she brings enough to the table, happiness, joy, intimacy, etc., that you want to remain with her. And if so, just understand that all these 20 issues and more, comes wrapped in the same package. Good luck, dude. I'm still rooting for you. Do you find it at least a little bit disappointing that the most times she doesn't actually know why she did or didn't do something? Woman so easily identified 20 issues in your relationship, all of which are things wrong about you? The reason I highlighted that last phrase is because your post states she was to make a list of the 20 biggest issues she has had in the relationship, not a list of 20 issues she's had with you. If your wording correctly describes her assignment, I know I'd be a little concerned that of her top 20 issues in your relationship she was unable, or unwilling, to identify a single one that was on her. 75% of her list is mostly on her and is a direct result of feeling inferior and having low self-esteem. Note, you didn't make her feel inferior, she just has that particular issue. A lot. That was part of her reasoning behind her little cam girl adventure. She got to feel special and validated and all kinds of crap that made her tingle. I've read all your stuff but haven't commented in a while. I know I'm only seeing one side of this, but damn, she is coming off like an entitled, spoiled, self-centered person who has extremely poor communication skills. If she is going to store up that many issues, none of which couldn't be readily solved with good communication, then maybe you were right when you said your marriage has way more problems than her being a cam girl and lying about it. That shit about the job you helped her get? How you just being good at what you do is overshadowing her. Jesus, she sounds incredibly immature. What happened to being your spouse's biggest cheerleader? She should be thanking you for a lot of shit on that list. I agree, she may have planned this whole cam shit as an out but then chickened out when it was time to go through with it. I'm sure that some of her complaints have legitimate merit and I'm sure you would work on them. Course it's easier to work on shit when your wife isn't lying to your face. Bottom line, I think she is deflecting and downplaying her crap she pulled by bringing up all these issues that are suddenly so important. What better time to say I've been unhappy about this and this for years than when you've just been busted for lying about making sex videos, sexting and whatever else she did. It's a perfect time for someone to start finding fault with their husband, faults that go back to the beginning of the relationship. That is some next level childish, manipulative crap. Resolve them? Perhaps, if there is substance to them. But at the very least they give you perspective. Good communication is important. Sometimes it hurts. Regardless, they are her feelings, just like yours are yours. Neither is more or less valid. Should you work on them? Well, imho, we are always working on our relationships, and ourselves. Consideration is a big part of any relationship. Having perspective gives credence to consideration. I am not an emotional person. I joke that I had my feelings removed. Okay, most of them. I have 2 left and my wife is the only one who I share both with. My wife is the opposite. I can spit and she cries. She is an empath, and feels everything. It's a fun ride. She has learned to filter me well, and I have learned not to spit. I have followed you from the beginning. I am praying for you and your wife. We have lived a similar tale and lived through it together. This reeks of acting like a child and being treated like a child. She wants to do a bunch of stuff but doesn't see it through. Complaints when you do too much or too little. Gets jealous when speaking with others, stealing her thunder. She will pout like a child when you say something she doesn't like and needs to go sulk instead of solving the issue. Why are you with her again? What does she do for you? Seems like all she does is resent you for everything you do and has no interest in fixing it. She wants what she wants and you need to figure that out without telling her you know and then let her duck it up only to be bitched at because you fixed it? Dude. Leave. Let her live on her own for a while and she may see how good she actually had it. Yeah, I sort of agree with you/Ethan that this list seems like blame shifting 101 and probably not a good idea to throw out when undergoing MC. Loved what he said about communication and point number 20. But that said, you have to admire her courage to write this up and hand it to you. A year ago she would just continue bottling up her emotions and you would be none the wiser. The problem is that now it is coming out as a torrent instead of a trickle or stream. Definitely work on your own list. You shouldn't bottle up your feelings if she is not. As for the list, pick a couple of the dead on that you feel that you should work on changing and work on those. The rest, just let it happen naturally. 20 issues for most couples are going to have them stretching down to minor quibbles just to get to that number. Looking through that list, it seems that half our difference is in style and the other how what you do triggers her insecurities. The fix for the former is to agree to allow the other to do things their way as long as the final product is done within a certain time frame. Otherwise you will continue to drive each other bonkers. The latter is fixed by fixing her insecurities, which while you can assist has to be done within her. I hate to say it, but a good MC can help the two of you navigate and negotiate through those. With respect to hobbies, don't. My wife and I don't share hobbies. I like each of us having our own thing. I want my alone time. My wife and I don't even watch the same shows. We have mutual interests, but I think having our things helps. If your wife wants to garden, let her. Don't get involved. Take that as an opportunity to do something you enjoy. Maybe you should take a step back. What's your 30 you hate about her? You are in the husband club. We're all accused of these at various points in the relationship. They're niggling little issues that usually don't even get verbalized. The IC is drawing out the least little thing and probably suggesting most. Not helpful. The sky is falling. The ducking sky is falling. I'm posting this on my personal page hoping for some advice, since apparently because of rules I can't post this anywhere else despite desperately wanting advice on this. So, this is a weird one, and to be honest, this messed up my entire weekend. My 27 meters niece Brianna, 15F, will be 16 soon, and she texted me saying she wanted to talk. When Brianna needs anything, I'm Johnny on the spot. The girl is my heart, so I immediately called her back, and I kind of wish I hadn't. First thing she tells me is that she has a girlfriend. Which is no real surprise. She had told me she liked a girl in her class before, so I was ready for that. She said she is attracted to personalities, not genders, and I was supportive. I told her that she can love whomever she wants, and I'm sure her father will say the same. Probably has said the same. But, her mother is definitely going to freak the hell out. Joyce isn't homophobic, but she isn't exactly woke when it comes to girl/girl relationships. It's just stuff we've heard her say that's misinformed and ignorant. No venom, just a lot of stereotypes and outdated thinking. Like worrying about which girl is the man of the relationship and stuff like that. I think she'll be fine. Anyway, I thought I had a handle on the situation. She's dating a girl, probably wants some support on how to break it to her mother, wants to bring her girlfriend to her birthday party, yada, yada, yada. Then she told me her girlfriend, who is a Hmong girl named Che, had been discussing having their first sexual experience after her birthday, and she wanted my advice. My response was to turn into Captain Holt from Brooklyn 99 and go, oh, no. Then I just stared at the phone for a good minute until I could hear her shouting my name. She told me it was serious and that it was important, and she wanted to know what I thought. And I had nothing at all. I asked if she could talk to her sisters or maybe Danny. Cause, like, this is some advice you might want to get from another woman. But she said that both genders have sex and she doesn't trust any of them with it, and they'd probably freak out and tell her parents. And then asked me not to say anything, which made me feel really uncomfortable. After a while I asked her why she thinks she needs to have sex so early. I asked if it was because other kids around her made her think everyone was having sex. I said in my time that was a lot of bullshit and not everyone's out there was banging like rabbits. Though I'll admit, I've got very little idea about the generation coming up next. She said this is a decision she and her girlfriend are considering, nothing set in stone, but if she does it'll be because it's something she wants to pursue, not because she feels social pressure. Then she straight up admonished me for thinking she would be influenced by peer pressure. I told her that I would need some time to think about what to say, cause it's a heavy ask. I told her that whatever she decides she needs to be physically safe, know the consequences and protect herself. Though I'll admit I'm not all on the logistics of how that happens between two women, safe sex practices. Mentally, I'd always thought one day I'd have this conversation with little Bast or Andy, my nephews. Hell, maybe even Falcon or Jason. But not from any of the girls. I'm woefully underqualified to say anything. I suggest maybe she talk to our family friend Cooper. She's a vet and a friend of the family and the only person both of us know that's in a female/female relationship, that we like and trust. Aunt Jaslyn might not be the best person to ask, she'd definitely tell everyone. Bri tells me she isn't comfortable talking about it with anyone else and hoped I could just tell her what to expect, what it's like, and how to be safe if she did choose to do so. So I told her that I'll have to think about it and get back to her on Monday after I handle some business, that I had to get back to a meeting right now, but I totally wanna talk to her about it. I told her I'm proud of her for being very adult about this and not just rushing headlong into a big decision. It seemed like something positive and neutral to say, without encouraging her to do it. She thanked me and asked me again not to tell anyone, especially her parents, and I promised I wouldn't tell her parents. But I might need to talk about it with someone with a better perspective than me, and that I would leave her in animosity. She seemed fine with it and thanked me, said to her I love yous and hung up. I'm sure you all know, but there was no meeting. I just wanted to disengage as quickly as possible. I'm ducked up. I don't know what to say to this child. I want to scream. I want to say no. I want to tell her not to rush to be an adult and that this is stupid, but it's just a knee-jerk reaction. I was younger than her when I lost my virginity, so I'd be a hypocrite. Especially since no, I do not and did not regret it. Though if I was a 14-year-old father I might have. But that's not an issue with a girl/girl relationship. The bigger thing is I'm literally hyperventilating cause I thought we had more time. I thought my baby was still a baby, She's a child. She's not even 16 yet. Oh man, this is so ducked up. Anyway, the point is I have no idea what the hell to say. Do I keep this to myself? Is it wrong to keep this from her parents? I would be betraying her trust and she'd probably never forgive me if I said anything to them or Paris and London. Lord knows neither of those girls can keep their mouths shut. Danny either for that matter. I also can't talk to my wife about it. What the hell am I supposed to do with this hot pile of mess? Anyone out there with any similar experience got any advice on what I'm supposed to do or say here? How do I respectfully and politely dissuade her from making a decision I think she's too young to make? No idea. But I feel that it is a good sign that she came to you for advice and support. I have a 17-year-old daughter, and this discussion, male or female, has not come up yet. Just be there for her. Listen first before giving any suggestions or advice. Maybe relate to her your feelings at that age. Being a teenager is tough. I was a horny teenager trying to have sex with anyone who would want to have sex. I doubt my perspective will be useful. But how did you actually feel about it and how do you feel about it now? My first time was at age 17 with someone who turned out to be a real slut. I feel bad about it now. The whole episode was not good. If the issue comes up, I will share this with my daughter, especially my feelings of regret. My drug use at the time did not help matters. Being a teenager took hashed for me. I suggest you take a few deep breaths to help calm down. She hit you up due to trust. Please keep that trust. I suggest you step out of your girl thoughts and answer questions like you would for a young guy. How would you have this talk about how to treat a partner? Next, forget the mechanics of it. The funny part is she will know more about the mechanics than you. Emotions are the part to cover. Respect boundaries, being safe, no pictures or video. Also suggest she and her GF not set expectations of what has to happen. Just like in BF/GF, no one has a right to anything, and permission can be revoked at any time. Then breathe some more. FYI, no judgment here, but yes, this is a lot to sort out. First, don't betray her trust. Parents get a lot of say in a lot of aspects in their kids' lives. But this is an area where we just have to prepare them to the best of our ability and be there for them when they need us. Suggest to her that she takes some time to consider what her 25-year-old self will think about what her 15-16-year-old self did. Does she think that she would look back on this with any level of regret, either for doing it or not? Talk to her about the importance of being comfortable with what is happening and communicating at all times. What are her limits? What are her GF's limits? What words will they use if something makes them uncomfortable or they need to stop? Has either of them had any previous experience that might put their partner at risk? Talk about the importance of being somewhere that is physically safe, not just in the back of the car somewhere. Give her the chance to talk about the emotions that she is feeling. Let her talk to you and really listen to her as a person and not just someone whom you want to protect. Be a good human. You've got this. Could you perhaps talk with her about what she might expect physically with a partner, but make it clear that you strongly encourage her to give it time, until she is a bit older, before any truly serious sexual experiences? That you understand that you are sharing your opinion on the matter with her and at the end of the day it's her decision, but that since she is asking for your input, you are going to give her all your input. People don't get to pick and choose, and that you are uncomfortable with her age. But that you understand her curiosity and are willing to share with her, hopefully to prepare her for a much more future time when she has matured even more. I would compliment her on her current maturity and thoughtfulness, but share your opinion that regardless age plays a factor for a reason, regardless if she is more mature than most her age. And it's because she's more mature than most her age that she can look at it from all angles and consider the importance age truly does make. I don't think you have to shut her down hard, but I also don't think you have to tell her what she wants to hear either. I think there is a happy medium. At the end of the day she will do what she wants, so prepare yourself, that your advice likely will not be taken. Just be empathetically honest, and as willing to satisfy her curiosity in a PG-13 manner as you can. You and your wife could use something to bond about right about now. She has experience with girl/girl action with Mimi, correct, and possibly more, and maybe you know about it? Sounds like the perfect opportunity to discuss something extremely important to you that she absolutely would need to keep in confidence. How better to test both your ability to bond over something important that needs to be kept confidential than this? You get to show your wife a bit of trust after the event, and she gets to show you she is trustworthy and can keep your confidence, which she sorely needs to do right now. You also get some real-world advice about an important problem you need advice with. This actually sounds perfectly suited to a situation that you can share with your wife to both your mutual benefit. Good luck with this one. P.S. If I had any advice to share about your dilemma I would, but I am as clueless about this situation as you are. What I can say is if there is no rush then STD testing and HPV vaccines before any actual sharing of bodily fluids. I feel for you. How long has she been with this girlfriend? That would play into what I would tell her. A week? A month or more? To me, like I have told my daughter, we started the talks a few years back. The decision is hers, but she is making the decision. I know, but if you loved me you would crap. That's pressure to have sex for someone else. Just trust herself, no need to rush. When it's right for her she will know it. Though I did tell my daughter I prefer her to wait until she is 35 and married, haha, the time is up to her. Go talk to Mimi. She sounds like she has a good head on her shoulders and uses logic sometimes. Oh my god, that never occurred to me. Mimi is so bi. Is it the same? Will it translate? Am I a monster for even asking? I think it's sweet that you want to help your niece. You are not a monster for not understanding the 15 new sexualities or genders. She sounds like she is pan, and like you said, Mimi is bi. I think that translates just fine. I think she was wanting you to give her tips on how to lick the kitty. Ha ha. The thought of even saying anything like that makes me immeasurably ill. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Lol, all I think she needs to hear is, it's going to be awkward, you're not going to know what you're doing, and that's okay. It's going to take a few times before you figure out what each other likes, and that's half the fun, figuring out what your partner likes and how you go about doing it. Experimentation and having an open mind to try different things is important. It may be a little weird, but how about talking to Cooper yourself? Explain the situation to her and get her take on safe practices and such. Then you can relay to Brianna the information you receive. Hey, unfettered, just calm down. Smile. You're my hero, but you're hilarious. After you've been rock solid with all you've dealt with the last few months, it just tickles me how this is the thing that freaks you out. Smile, love you, man. My 2 cents. First of all, she's nearly 16. We trust 16-year-olds behind the wheels of 2 to 3 ton missiles darting around our streets and highways at 35 to 80 miles per hour. We should be willing to trust them in relationships. Admittedly, some don't handle it as well as others. But the mature ones are usually okay, and Brianna seems to have her head screwed on straight. Also, in this culture we think of 16 as too young, but in many cultures she would have already been married for 2 to 3 years and had as many kids. Secondly, the real problem with teens having sex is the threat of pregnancy, something that can alter/derail their lives, especially the girls, significantly. Fortunately, unless I totally got my anatomy classes all wrong, Brianna's pretty much taken this concern off the table. So, here's what I do. First, tell Brianna that you would be happy to counsel her, but you won't have any discussions with her until she lets her mother know that she has a girlfriend and would like to invite her to her party. If Brianna wants to be adult enough to have sex, she needs to be adult enough to come clean with her mother and deal with the fallout. Maybe you and her dad can help her figure out how to come out to her mom, but, bottom line, it's in her best interest to stand up and be open in this relationship with her mom, before diving headlong into another. Also, if her mom finds out that you knew and didn't tell her, you'll really be up SHT's a creek. Next, find a woman you and she both trust, Amy? And have them talk to her about their first time, what they felt before/during/after, if it was a good experience, and or if they had any regrets or wished they'd done things differently. I know Brianna said she didn't feel comfortable talking to anyone but you can counter her with, look, you seem to think that I, a man, am the best choice to help you figure out how to handle your first sexual experience. That tells me that you haven't really grasped the physical and emotional dynamics involved in sexuality, things that affect women totally differently than men. That alone is reason for me to want you wait a few more years. Finally, if you feel this way, tell her that you think she's too young. Tell her that while sex is beautiful and wonderful, it's also very serious and shouldn't be considered lightly. Let her know that you believe she should wait until she's an adult, 18, and a bit more mature. Honestly, that pretty much never works, but, in your favor, she did come to you beforehand to ask your advice, and if you feel that way, then certainly let her know that that's your advice. So there you have it. Not necessarily what you should do, but it's what I would do in this situation. Hope it helps. I have nothing for this, I don't even know where to begin. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.